to bypass Zoom because for whatever reason, you know what? Let me resume. Let me reboot this computer, and maybe that'll solve that. Sometimes accommodating people. Hit restart. Okay, so while my Zoomers are coming back online, we were talking about walking away from some people and coming back to others, and how in some cases it may be a statement that we make that we no longer hang out with this, or no longer hang out with that, or no longer go here, or no longer go there. But in the reality is that the people that we come in contact with, when we focus on those that are not saved, it's because of the saved people that the unsaved people get a chance to make the connection and find God in their lives. So in chapter 6, this is what the Apostle Paul is addressing. It says I'm not live anymore, but I am. Okay. I tell you, technical difficulties do make things very difficult. All right. Let me just let everybody know I'm back on YouTube, and Facebook never, and that's Zoom is rebooting. All right, so let's plug this thing in, and then I should be able to troubleshoot that as well. Okay. Plug you in, and I know this looks horrible online. Say, what is going on? That church don't know what they're doing. And that pastor is ridiculous. All right, well, let's see if I can get the Zoom back on. I rebooted the computer, and it should come right up. There's the Zoom feed, and there's that, and start, and boom. There it is. All right, so whoever was on Zoom, oh. And, yep. Are they all back? Y'all there? All the Zoomers, you there? All right. Val, can you see me? Wave your hand, Val. That might be the previous feed. If you can see me, wave your hand. All right, good. Looks like the Zoomers didn't get lost. They just got put on ice. Oh, Selah! Selah! All right. Okay, so let me get you guys caught up. I only got 20 minutes to finish chapter 6 and chapter 7. So obviously we got to cut across the field. I'm on Facebook and YouTube and Zoom. Yeah. Yeah, we back. Well, I'm looking at you guys on Zoom. So this is delayed. It's delayed. But they're back. Okay. All right. So it's called delayed reaction. Delayed reaction. I turned it back on and I rebooted. They were already in there. Delayed reaction. All right. Okay. Yeah. So right, so let's go here and make sure that everyone that is on, I know one person I can call that will pick up. No, see. Let me see. Oh, and Sarah says, she says she saw Dave. Yeah, that was Dave, y'all. That was Dave. All right, now I'm going to call Hazel Harvey because I know she'll pick up, and then she'll tell me if the feed is back or not. All right. All right, let me make sure H-Town is back. Because if she can see me, then we're all good. Because it'll get caught up. Are you still looking at me? Okay, good. Because I had to reboot the computer that had Zoom on it. And you guys were still on when I came back, but it was so delayed that by the time I came back, you guys were in real time, your time, but it was maybe like a 2-minute delay. But I think you guys are back by now, right? Okay, perfect. All right, well, let me get back into chapter 6, all right? Amen. Okay, all right. So here is what he's doing. He's talking about the dualism of life, the good and the bad, the plus and the minus, the all right. I guess Bernice can't hear. That's Bernice Nance, and the volume is up. Yeah. Okay. So look at what it says. It says, now I am in verse 4. But in all things approving ourselves as the ministers of God, in much patience, in afflictions, and in necessities, in distresses, in stripes, in imprisonments, in tumults, and labors, in watchings, and fastings. Then we jump down a little further and see what it says. Verse 8, by honor and dishonor, by evil report and good report, as deceivers and yet true, as unknown and yet well known. So he's talking about what it means to be a believer, and there are the plus values and there are the negative values. And some people think that Christians don't have problems. You know, believers have as many problems as I guess anybody. The challenge is how we deal with them. Like, we don't get so distraught that we say, I don't know what to do, I'm going to end it all. When we get distraught, we say, God, I'm going to give this whole burden to you. I'm going to let you have it because I can't carry it anymore. Jesus says, cast all your cares upon him, for he cares for you. Him refers to Jesus. He's our burden bearer. So we know how to give our burdens to the Lord. And the challenge we have sometimes, we pick them back up. We say, now, Lord, I gave it to you, but I kind of like that burden, so I'm going to take it back. The way we're supposed to go is you give it to the Lord and let him continue to carry it so that we are free from it, right? So in the dualistic area of life, there are ups and downs. But for the believer, we say, all of my good days still outweigh my bad days. I won't complain. Songwriter goes on to say, God has been good to me. He's been so good to me. more than this old world can ever be. He's been so good to me. He's dried all my tears away, turned my midnights into day. So I'll say, thank you, Lord. I won't complain. And so what Paul is doing here is, one, he's talking about the toughness of being saved, because people point at us, they poke at us, they mistreat us sometimes because they say, you're a churchgoer, you just one of those people that's, holy roller, that Jesus freak. They got all these names for the those of us who are believers. And Bernice, you can't hear it all. Hold on. Can you hear, Bernice? No, I've got the mic right here. Let me call Bernice. B-E-R-N. Because I don't want her to lose this last piece. Bernice. There she is. Because I'm about to go into chapter 7. And I could put her on speakerphone. All right, Bernice, I'm going to put you on speakerphone so you can hear me. All right? All right. Bless you. Okay, so in life, where you have the plus and the minus, the first time we see that is in Ecclesiastes 3. Everything, there's a season and a time for every purpose under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to laugh and a time to weep, or a time to dance and a time to mourn. All of this comes at us because life has its ups and its downs. And in our down moments, we still lift the Lord Jesus. And we don't lose sight of the fact that Jesus is our everything. Now, Valerie says she cannot hear. And I'm wondering, all right, so it might be that, now I'm sure that Rita can hear because she said amen. And Jeffrey Martin is responding, right? And so, and I see that that we've got some others that have come in, which is great. I see Pat Austin. So some people are able to hear, and I think those that could not hear were those that were on Zoom, and that was because we had to reboot the computer. So while we were rebooting, that's when they couldn't hear. Now that it's back up, they should be able to hear just fine. I don't know. Yeah, that could be it. All right, gotcha. Okay, so now that we get deeper in chapter 6, look at what it says in verse 17. Well, no, let me lead up into that, because there's a lead in that I need you to see. And it comes from chapter 6, starting in at verse 14. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the book camera so you guys can see this for yourselves. All right, so look at what it says in verse 14. It says, be not unequally yoked together with unbelievers, for, I'm going to turn the page. What fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness, and what communion hath light with darkness, right? And then it drops down. Let's look at 16. And what agreement hath the temple of God with the idols, for ye are the temple of the living God, as God hath said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Now, we first hear this from the Abrahamic covenant. God says, leave your father's house and go to a place where I will show you. And I will make your descendants like the grains of sand on the seashore, or as the stars in the sky. Right? It says, I'm going to multiply you in such a way that you will not be able to be numbered. No one will be able to stand there and count you all. Right? Has anyone ever tried to count some stars in the sky or grains of sand on the seashore? You'd still be there if you started 50 years ago. And you wouldn't even have scratched the surface yet. That's what I'm talking about. So the idea is that when God said he was going to set apart Abraham and his descendants, he said it this way. You're going to be a kingdom of priests. You're going to be a holy nation. You will be a royal priesthood. You will be, a chosen people, right? So if you're a chosen people walking with God, you can't be walking with people that are pagans. Now, the pagans need to see what chosen people look like and how they talk. So there has to be some degree of communication. But it's not the same thing as hanging out. Y'all feel what I'm saying? Because when you hang out with unbelievers, you will discover that you can get burned. Because if they're worshiping a false god, they might try to drag you down there with them. But look at what else the Apostle Paul says here in this book. I think we're in 17 now. He says, therefore come out from among them and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you, and I will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty. Okay? So he's letting us know that he has value. Val, let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear Val? I don't know. Text me, Sister Val, if you can hear me, or put it in the chat. You know what? I can type it in the chat myself. See if y'all can hear. Can y'all hear? Question mark. All right, let's see. Let's see what the answer is right there before I go on to chapter 7. While they're answering that, let me go ahead and put some more people in, because some more people have joined us on Facebook that were not with us when I got started. So I'm grateful that I have, okay, I got Rita. Okay, Rita. And I got Pastor Jeffrey. Okay, good. Got him. And that should do it. All right. Okay, now we're going to go to chapter 7. And in chapter 7, he picks up where he left off with that letter that we addressed before that he spoke about. So remember, he made some statements about, you guys got to remove certain people out of the congregation because, when they act like that, if you don't remove them, then you're condoning what they're doing in the church. So in chapter 7, it says, having therefore these promises, dearly beloved, let us cleanse ourselves from all filthiness of the flesh and spirit, perfecting holiness in and in the fear of God. Receive us. We have wronged no man. We have corrupted no man. We have defrauded no man. I speak not this to condemn you, for I have said before that ye are in our hearts to die and to live with you. Right. So he addresses some of the bold statements he made in the first letter, and says that he knows that he hurt their feelings. And because he did that, he knows that was tough for them to deal with. But he had to correct bad behavior. He didn't have a choice, right?
They keep unmuting themselves. It's not good for me.
All right. So when we look now at what he's facing, he's letting them know that I needed to say these things to you because even if it hurt your feelings, it was righteous hurt. It was something that you needed to experience so that you would make a change, right? You needed to make a change. And it was good that you make that change. And then he goes on to talk about Titus and how he's happy that Titus returned back to, I gotta mute this because this is just ridiculous. He talks about Titus, and he's saying that he is really happy that Titus returns. Now, or that Titus is found, because there was a moment when he's looking for Titus, can't find him. Think about the people in the church that we need to do certain things. And if they're not there to do those certain things, the whole church service possibly will suffer, or the whole church environment may suffer, right? So we have people that do things at our church on a weekly basis, then we have some that do things on a daily basis. We had some of them here earlier today because they did some setups, they did some a few things that we needed done because this weekend is going to be here and we got to have everything set and ready. And so a lot of times when we come in, it's all done. It's all set up. So we're like, okay, everything's done. Oh, whoever did it did a great job. But it was people that came in that made sure that happened. Now, we're going to need a crew on Friday night. We're going to need a crew on Saturday afternoon. And we're going to need a crew on Sunday after church. Because when colors change, that means you got to pull certain things off, put in the wash, and put other things on the tables that have already been washed, right? So while we come in and it's already done, somebody's doing the behind the scenes stuff already. You all see that makes sense. Unless we get those bathrooms cleaned on a regular basis, you will know when somebody's missing. That takes care of that job, because it will be painfully obvious as soon as you walk into church. You will go, whoa! Oh, right? Because it's clear that that person is missing. So what Paul is saying is he's happy that Titus, and he says it also about Timothy, I'm so happy that these people are available and they're working in the church. Now think about you, put your name there, whatever your function is or whatever your function is developing to be, you can say for sure that as you are developing and becoming more apt at what you do for your church, people will know when you're not there, because they say, this function was missing. And I miss sister so-and-so or brother so-and-so because this function was missing. right? So for us, it's along that same line. You know, we want the function to be consistent and to be working, but it's not going to happen in a vacuum. We all have to do our part, right? So everybody can't clean the bathrooms, you know, but you know, when we finish with the Bibles, somebody wipes them off. When we finish with the hymn books, someone wipes them down so that the next person that touches it knows that it has been sanitized. We have been meticulous with that. Okay? So, people that work in the church, they are invaluable. And they are well thought of. Like on this weekend, we have people that'll be working in the church, in the kitchen. They'll be serving plates. They'll be doing a lot of stuff like that. They'll be, bringing things to the table so the people can consume it. They'll be taking things from the table. There'll be that kind of movement, and it's invaluable. Now, is it a thankless job? Probably so, because they'll say, well, the service was okay. But wait a minute, this ain't the Waldorf Astoria, okay? We might make it look pretty good, but, you know, we don't have professional servers here. We have volunteers, and, you know, they might, you know, bring you blue cheese when you ask for, you know, ranch. You know, it's not because they're poor servers. Their issue is they're volunteers and they don't get paid to do the things they do. However, we do know this. If they weren't there to do that job, it is noticed that the job has not been done. So I wanted you to remember, insert your name in chapter 7, where he's talking about Titus and where he's talking about Timothy. He does that throughout, you know, 1st and 2nd Corinthians. But insert your name because Paul is thankful for having their help. He's grateful for having them help. Like, for instance, we've got Sister Bernice. She made sure, now she normally takes care of all of the boutonnieres and all the corsages. This year, she shifted her function to something a little easier, and she is invaluable to the service of Calvary Baptist Church. But a lot of times, people don't know what she does. But we do, and we love her for it, right? The ushers, sometimes there, people barking at them. Where's my bulletin? Well, the ushers don't need to be barked at, number one. And two, if there are bulletins available, they will be given, but no one is entitled to a bulletin because we use digital bulletins. And we throw away less paper when we do it that way. So the joy of service for the deacons, for the deaconesses, for the trustees, for the ushers, nurses, first aiders, to any other worker that does any other thing, your service is invaluable. And I'm going to say thank you right now to everyone that works in God's church, from the top of the food chain all the way down to the person that does maybe one thing once a season. We thank all of you for your work, because if you don't do that work, it is noticeable. And we love seeing you participate and attend, because your showing up really helps us to see the value of the work that we put in. All right? So that is good. Now, I'm hoping that you all could hear me on YouTube. You're going to have to tell me if you can't hear me. I'm presuming that you can, because no one turned me off. They didn't do that. So I'm grateful that on YouTube everyone could hear just fine. All right, so on your sheets, let me tell you where you're going to put the notes. All right, so on your worksheets, you're going to put down these for Second Corinthians, because you should have it for First Corinthians. Calling, Second Corinthians 1 and 2, chapters 1 and chapter 2. Calling, Second Corinthians 1 and 2. Career, Second Corinthians 1, 2, 3, 4. Career, Second Corinthians 1, 2, 3, 4. Carnality, Second Corinthians 6. Carnality, Second Corinthians 6. Character, Second Corinthians 1 through 7 so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 Corinthians 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for character. Charity, 2 Corinthians 1, 2, 6, and 7. Charity, 2 Corinthians 1, 2, 6, and 7. And then commitment, 2 Corinthians 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For commitment, 2 Corinthians 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to turn the page over, and then connectedness, we have 2 Corinthians 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. 2 Corinthians 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7, right? That's for connectedness. All right, perfect. All right, so we're going to shut down at this time. I'm going to have Deaconess Valerie to unmute herself, and then we're going to ask her to pray us out. There we go. Yes. Yes. Amen. All right, we will see you all. Now, Valerie, I need you to stay on Zoom because I'm going to repair. I think she's gone already. Valerie, stay on Zoom because I'm going to repair this sound and I'm going to need your help. So with Hazel and Bernice, we'll shut them down. I think she's gone already. Val, can you hear me? Okay, she's not going to be able to do it. All right, I'll see y'all later. I got another way to fix it. I got another way to fix that. Okay, and over here.